All right, folks, happy Friday. Thank you, everyone, for joining. We have an amazing panel here of folks that are representing the different organizations we have across the Black Hills that are providing assistance for our community out there. And we wanted to bring everyone together to get all the ideas put in one box here. You know, we've had some questions about basic needs of the community here in West River. And so we have Helpline Center here, 211. We got Salvation Army, Red Cross, United Way, Meals on Wheels, and they in turn are representing some of the smaller organizations that are working here in the Black Hills as well. So if you guys have questions for these organizations, how can I help? Where can I get these basic needs? Not really sure where to start. Not only do we have that information on our website, but if you put the question on our Facebook page in the comments section, I can see everyone on there. Hey, Land, Lily, how's it going? Joining from Sugar Land, Texas. How's it going? So I can see those comments, and we're going to ask those questions as you guys put them through to our panel here. But let's go ahead and get a quick introduction from everyone. Just a brief recap of what you guys do here. So, Audrey, let's start with you.
Yeah, it's Audrey Nordine with 211 Helpline. What we do is we provide a 24/7, 365 hotline that people can call, a trained team that is getting up-to-date information from partners that are on this panel today and many of the other nonprofits throughout South Dakota for up-to-date information on where you can get basic needs met, like food, help with rent or utility assistance, where you can find a sack lunch where you can get a meal. So we have a comprehensive database of over 4,500 resources that serve the state. And all you do is have to call 211, or you can visit our website to gain access to those resources.
Perfect. Thank you so much. So basically, you need to get access to one of these other organizations in town. They can give you a call, give you guys a call then.
Yes.
All right, Kelsey, let's go to you. What we got?
I'm Captain Kelsey Marino with the Salvation Army of the Black Hills. We serve all of West River and with basic human needs. So we have a food pantry. We are assisting people financially with utilities. Our thrift stores are also available to help people with things like clothing and household items. So we have a long history of service in South Dakota, meeting those basic human needs.
Kelsey, thank you. Awesome. Jamie, let's go.
Hi, I'm Jamie Tennis, the Executive Director for United Way of the Black Hills. We are a local nonprofit that serves the Black Hills region, and we are working very hard to stay on top of what are the most urgent needs. And we've created a United We Stand COVID Relief Fund where people can donate, and 100% of those grants are going to amazing organizations like these who are helping meet the immediate and urgent needs of our community due to the pandemic.
Awesome, Jamie, thank you so much. All right, and we are also joined by Richard Smith.
Morning, Brent. I'm Richard Smith with the American Red Cross, serving central and western South Dakota. Our primary response has been around disasters, and unfortunately, COVID is a lot like a disaster when we see what's happening in the stores, what's happening around the community. So we're just providing some technical assistance, some knowledge based on some of the information when we work some major hurricanes.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. Okay, George, we got Meals on Wheels. What do we got?
George Larson, Meals on Wheels, Western South Dakota. We cover seniors in the western part of the state from Lemon down to Edgemont. We provide meals at a donation basis for anybody 60 plus. They can come give us a call and we will get meals out to them pretty much any place they are in Western South Dakota. That's our main mission.
Awesome. So I wanted to kick things off because I've had a lot of questions from folks just over the last couple of weeks saying, look, I want to help. I honest to goodness don't know what is needed. Of course, everyone's heard about, toilet paper going off the shelves, but that's not necessarily something that everyone is needing right now. It's just a thing that's, on the news. So I want to start with you, Audrey. You guys get these calls and what kind of direction are we going? What is it that people, or do you know what people have been calling about? What has kind of been the theme of what those discussions look like?
Yeah, our main calls In a non-pandemic time, we do answer questions for food and basic needs, but that has really risen in the month of March. Our top call is health education and referrals. People calling truly very anxious about COVID-19, want up-to-date information. We're partnering with the Department of Health to help answer their calls as well. So people are calling just for that basic health information. Our next one is emergency food and basic needs. In the month of March, we had over 500 calls just for emergency food, which that is a really large number for 4 weeks time for us. And then the third one is expenses, things like housing expenses, utility assistance, and kind of underlying in those conversations are because someone's temporarily laid off and is now seeking unemployment and needs a way to pay their bills. So those are kind of our top 3 calls, meeting those truly basic human needs for the folks here in the Black Hills.
Okay, awesome. And a quick reminder, folks, if you have questions for any of these guys, this is an open discussion. If you guys have questions, make sure to put it in the comments section and I'll ask them. And we'll get these questions to these representatives. And, that's what they're here for. They're here to answer your guys' questions about providing resources and obtaining resources here in West River. And Jamie, I think you had something you wanted to add about this.
Well, just that we are in weekly meetings with communities all over the Black Hills, with other organizations, nonprofits, community leaders, local government, other funders, to make sure we're all aware of what are the most critical needs and matching up resources. And it's interesting because it's all levels. So it's the smaller things that individuals can do, like needing homemade face masks. And people don't realize, but now that you need to wear those like in the court system. So DSS needs masks for kids so that they can go into the court system, and for our preschools. So there's simple things like that. We know that there is a need for blood right now. There's a shortage because the blood service has had to cancel their community blood drives, a lot of them. So things like that. But then there's also larger scale systems changes that are needed. For example, childcare for essential workers. Now that there's the hygiene or the health and safety guidelines, the cost to provide childcare is much different. And so we are looking at it as a system of how we can adjust those things. And so there's a real need for supplies, but there's also a need for funding to help all of these organizations provide the services they do so well. But as Audrey said, there's such an increase in demand right now that's unforeseen, like nobody's seen it at this point, and it happens so quickly. So the fact that our nonprofits have had to ramp up their services so quickly is amazing and shows the true spirit of what our community can do. But at the same time, there's costs associated with that. And so that's why we have our fund to raise money because it is needed.
And Richard, did you have anything to add to that as well? I think you were saying you might had some input on that.
Yeah, just some of the importance of what items you can donate. There's some specific around like face masks, but just want to encourage you to think about donating cash, because cash really allows nonprofits to go out and purchase the things that they need the most. So things are dynamic every single day, something is changing. So really making a cash donation to an organization really drives them the ability to go out and get that. One of the bad things that happens in any kind of disaster like this is people go out and buy things for their general use, and then sometimes they buy excess of that. We just encourage people not to hoard at this time. Please just buy what you need and allow somebody else to come back into the store and pick up what they need as well. So just so important to really think about making it cash donations rather than monetary goods. And a lot of times organizations can buy that at a cheaper cost than what you could, so it actually allows us to buy more product.
That's awesome. So we actually have a question from one of our viewers. Paula wants to know, and Jamie, you were just talking about this, childcare resources. So if there's a place where they can go to obtain information about that, where could they go? Or is there someone else in this panel who would know where those resources would be?
So I can start. So first off, a plug. Next Friday, this panel conversation will be all about educational resources, both childcare as well as education resources for parents who have kids at home. But there is an effort underway for us to get a handle on what are the needs for childcare, especially for essential workers, and then what organizations we can partner with to get them the funding they need to make that happen, to offer those resources. In the meantime, though, I'm going to turn it over to Audrey because I know 211 has some of those resources already on their site.
Yeah, so when people call 211, they can access us by calling 211, or they can go to helplinecenter.org. And we have a specific page that's set up for COVID-19 that addresses those exact issues: childcare, resources for food and basic needs. So what we do is, this isn't our information, but it's the information that our nonprofits share with us. So part of our need is the partner sharing with us up-to-date information. So like Black Hills Reads and United Way, their effort with getting a real gauge on where the childcare needs are at, 211 will then take that information and put it into our resource database that can be viewable by the public on our website, or people can call if they don't have internet access to just tap into that information. We'll share the eligibility, what that program looks like, and then that contact information that's needed to get, for instance, like this, that childcare information.
Audrey, thank you. So we do have another question from Bonnie, and she said, food seems like it's always been a bit scarcer during a crisis. And is it due to the location? Is that something that's being needed here? Is food donations needed? Now, Richard did just talk about this, saying cash is the major thing here. That's the thing that really allows purchasing power for these organizations to go out and get exactly what is needed in those kinds of situations. But George, I wanted to kind of toss that to you. As far as meals are concerned, is there a shortage of meals? Do you guys take food donations? What's that look like?
Yes. Well, we do some food donations, but we really have to make sure all the food that we get is like meats and things like that are fully inspected, fully restaurant quality, all those kind of things. We want to make sure our people are safe first and most first off before anything else. Generally, what we say, if you have like home canned goods and things like that, to reach out to 211 and ask them where the best place those can be utilized. When we're serving the 1,300, 1,400 people a day that we're serving across the area, it's really hard for us to get and open those little tiny cans one at a time, single serves and things like that. So we try to get larger quantities of things, the vegetables, the fruits, the meats and things like that, larger quantity for us. That being said, right now, our suppliers are telling us for bringing food in. Right now, there is no shortage on food. We can get food through our suppliers to provide meals for seniors. Whatever it is that we need. It may not be available to get a certain brand, but we can certainly get the food that we need to provide meals to our seniors today, tomorrow, and the coming weeks to come as well. That being said, we're seeing more and more situations where people are calling and saying, I've lost my job. Seniors are saying, I've been working at so-and-so and I don't have a job anymore. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing. I was part-time, I was fill-in, I was whatever. It was enough to keep me going with my others, Social Security or whatever. But right now, I don't know what I'm going to do. Meals on Wheels isn't just for meals for seniors that don't have any other place to turn. We're there to help you through this crisis as well. We can provide a pack of meals, of 7 meals, some milk, things like that to get you through a week at a time. We can deliver those. We've got options to be able to pick those up if you call us over at the office at 394-6002, or reach out to Audrey at 211. She can give you that information as well. We can get the food to you in your home or provide a safe way to get those picked up with people that are trained in safe, sanitary ways. We're gelling between each place for alcohol gel. We're wearing masks. We're doing all the things to keep you and us safe as well during this time.
All right, Jamie, and you had a point to add on that.
Yeah, one of the amazing things about our community is how we do all work together. And so especially around food, there's been a great collaborative spirit of everybody working closely together, keeping tabs on who's serving who to make sure we can leverage and use our resources as effectively as we can to go the furthest. And so Black Hills Area Community Foundation is actually leading the food security work and helping to capture where the food distribution opportunities are throughout the Black Hills, and then sharing that with all of us, but also on 211's website. So people can go there and find where they can access food depending on their age or their location. So I just wanted to put that.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I went ahead and I made sure people know. Make sure you're posting your questions about basic needs in West River. And this is not just for Rapid City. This is West River. So if you're in Lead, you're in Deadwood, or you're in Edgemont, and you're thinking, gosh, I have no resources whatsoever. Here's your time to ask those questions, where to get those, who to talk to, all of those great things. Let's see. We have a question about from Jody. We need emergency dental care updated. Do we have any information about that? Emergency dental work. Is there any sort of resources aimed that way? I don't know if Audrey wants to jump in and kind of point us in the right direction there.
Well, because we do house lots of information, I don't know off the top of my head that dental work, but I wonder if any of our partners here today might have a indication with, because these people here are who work directly with those clients that are seeking dental care. So maybe one of them could address maybe partners that they have utilized before, in which we have in our database. So I don't know if anyone has that.
I can answer real quick about that too. What they really need to do is if they have a dental provider that is their normal dentist, most all of the dental providers right now are switching over to just emergency care. I know that the dentists that we work with right now have that switched over, so they may not be seeing patients during a normal set time, but if you reach out to them through their answering service or if they've got their office open, if they can't find you help, they will be able to refer through the network of other dentists, hopefully somebody that can help them.
And Richard, you had input on that as well.
Yep. So again, it's just what George had mentioned, that contact your local provider. They're typically going to have some kind of emergency hours that they can work with. Also, for those folks who don't maybe have one, Community Health has a dental clinic that they can sometimes help out with. So reaching out to Community Health may be an answer. And again, we're all sharing information and talking about the challenges that are going along. So if you have that, if you communicate that into 211, if you can't find a resource, then we'll start working on that as a whole, as a large group.
Okay, awesome. I wanted to quickly jump to Kelsey here. I want to know, if I want to donate to the Salvation Army, what resources are we looking for? Is it clothes? Is it you guys needing cash? What helps the most?
I think Richard captured that very well. The easiest way to support a local organization, any local organization right now, is typically to donate financially. Our thrift stores are still operating and accepting donations on a limited basis. And the thrift stores are able to support people. For instance, we had a young woman come in this week who needed clothes for her first day of work. And so we were able to provide that to her through our thrift stores. So those types of donations still do have value, but in a crisis like this, the absolute best way is to make a financial donation so that each organization is able to resource those things that they're finding themselves needing, because our needs are changing day to day. I think, on our community-wide coordination, that's been the theme over and over, is that people are suddenly needing things that we maybe hadn't anticipated. And so the best way for us to be able to take care of those needs is with a financial donation.
Awesome. Okay. I do have a comment from, let's see, Josh Becker. It says, if any of these entities are needing any sort, and that's to you guys, to let you guys know, if any of these entities are needing any sort of courier logistics or supplies transported, Avis Rent-A-Car, the Black Hills, has drivers and vehicles available for that purpose. And they said they're here to support the local community and to reach out to them if needed as far as transportation is concerned. It's one of the comments on there. So thank you so much for that. And we do have questions about, let's see, go down here. And once someone says, how does my mother-in-law get Meals on Wheels if she doesn't have her food stamps, or she doesn't have a way to get food stamps George, I'll pass that question on to you. You know, she is having difficulty getting that resource. Can she still apply, or how she go about that?
Of course, all she has to do is call 394-6002 or visit us on the web at mealsprogram.com. We can get her information for her, see what the best way that makes sense for her, either be home delivered meals or have somebody be able to pick meals up. If individuals are outside of the communities that are currently as what we normally consider served, we do have something where we actually do weekly meal deliveries to people out of towns. So if whether it be in Silver City or Hermosa or things like that, we can get somebody in a week's worth of meals at a time, wherever they are. For the most part, there's some places we can't quite reach yet. But within an hour or so of Rapid City, we're doing our very best to get everybody meals for that. But just give us a call at 394-6002. We can get you set up from Lemon to Edgemont to Wall to Faith to wherever else in between there. If we can't help you, we will do our very, very best, though, to connect you with the program or service that can help you for those needs.
And Richard, you had a comment, I believe, about as far as the vehicles were concerned.
Yep. So if Josh is looking for a place, they can always reach out to 211. Has all this information again on their webpage. You can go to their Corona site and it'll tell you. But there's an organization called Corona SD Help. I believe it's .org. And they are looking for people to go out and do just what kind of we're talking about, is delivery of products to those that may be homebound, quarantined. So Josh, great idea. Please reach out to them or reach into Audrey at 211. The community has done a really great job, and this includes the state, has done a great job in trying to assess the needs and making sure we have ways around that. These kinds of things really help us out. So thank you.
Yeah, George, go ahead. You said you had some input.
Sure, and I want to follow up too to make everybody's aware. There is no charge for Meals on Wheels for anybody 60 plus. It's 100% voluntary donation basis. We give everybody the opportunity to donate, but if you're over 60, you'll never ever be forced to donate for anything. So if you've lost your food stamps, if you've lost your job, if you just are kind of worried about how much food is in your cupboard, give us a call and we can see about working with you. Again, donations are great. We love donations. It keeps us going, but don't feel that you have to donate, especially during this time, if you cannot afford to do so. We're there for you.
Kelsey, I wanted to bounce to you real quick. I want to know more about some of the things that's about the Salvation Army does in the Black Hills. I mean, for me, it came to mind, clothes during cold weather, but obviously those needs are a lot more nowadays, and you guys do a lot more. Can you tell people a little bit more about what you guys do?
Sure. So we have a food pantry. We've been working in conjunction with the Black Hills Area Community Foundation, their effort to provide food resources in a way that makes sense for the community, and have been working with South Dakota as well. And so right now our food pantry services in Rapid City are happening on Friday afternoons. And then up in Spearfish, at our thrift store in Spearfish, that location is serving as our food pantry for the Northern Hills as well. And then one of the other things that we're seeing lots of calls about right now, there's that concern for people who have been laid off or their employment has been reduced, and they're worried about paying their rent or their utility bills. And the utilities are something we assist with all year long. And rent is something that's new for us that we are going to be helping with in response to the pandemic. So there's lots of different ways that the Salvation Army is able to serve right now. And we are very adaptable. Our mission adapts to meet the needs that we see present in the community. And so that's something that we've been assessing with the help of the United Way and other organizations. What can we do right now that makes sense to meet the needs in our community that are present at this time?
Audrey, I want to toss that to you as well. You had some comments.
Yeah, so in regards to food and the former question, 211 does house resources, but we've set up a page specifically for COVID-19. And on that page, you can search by your zip code to find basic needs and resources. But I want to draw attention to our food distribution as well. You can search by a South Dakota town, a food distribution site. One organization that is heavily involved in food distribution is Feeding South Dakota. And they're kind of one of those organizations that have had to change as this month has rolled out. And one area that they're doing is that Wednesday distribution site at Central State Fairgrounds to kind kind of streamline the process, but serve 500 families at one time in order to get food. So we have those food distribution sites that Feeding South Dakota is doing in the southern and northern hills and in Rapid City, in addition to the other organizations that are providing those food distributions, that's school districts and nonprofits that we have listed.
Jamie, I wanted to ask you real quick, have you seen, as far as different needs in rural communities as opposed to here in town? So if I'm in a rural community and I want to help out my rural community, are we seeing anything different out there?
Not necessarily different. And in truth, because the rural communities are so close and tight-knit, we are seeing a lot of individuals just helping individuals. And so there's a really strong volunteer effort and partnering with different nonprofits. So, you mentioned transportation earlier, which is a huge issue, and especially when we have like homebound seniors. And so we've got nonprofits like Prairie Hills Transit, who provides transportation for individuals, working with those individuals who are homebound so that they don't have to leave their house, and they'll instead go get the materials that are needed, partner with a group maybe like Corona SD Help, but then transport that stuff back to those individuals. So you've got a lot of that type of thing happening where people are just really working close to meet those individual needs there in those communities. Food is the biggie. That was probably the first major need that was really identified. And so, as we've been saying, there was a great effort underway to really coordinate those food distribution sites, and Feeding South Dakota continuing to get food to the other organizations in the outlying communities who are providing things like Boys and Girls Club, who's giving food to their community in those communities. So there's a lot of that underway. What we're seeing now that food has really been coordinated well and is going strong. Upcoming needs, childcare, rental assistance, like Kelsey mentioned, working with our homeless populations to make sure they've got their resources. So as we said, the needs are starting to shift a little bit, which is another reason why donating funding money is really important, because we fully expect that's going to continue.
So it was interesting when you were talking about, food being the first need. I saw everyone nodding their heads, so this is across all the different organizations here that became the thing that was needed at first. People came together, they got that done, but those needs are constantly changing, which is why we're going to continue to have these panels while it's necessary. And I wanted to remind folks that if you post a question in the comments section, we will get to those and answer those throughout the day today. So don't be afraid to go ahead and post your question on there, and we'll be sure to do the best we can to get you to the necessary resources on that. George, you had a comment you wanted to talk about.
Yeah, and so not only we're talking about seniors, but we're talking about Feeding South Dakota for families as well, doing food distributions all across Western South Dakota, from Rapid City to, they just had some in Belle Fourche and other areas outside of there too. They're really doing a good job of doing about weekly distributions in there. So again, 211 would have details about when those times are for your weeks and times coming up. But here in the area, I know that the kids and the parents trying to feed their kids that are being home is a real struggle. And so Rapid City Area Schools is really doing an amazing job of partnering through right now I think it's Mondays and Wednesdays from approximately 10:45 to a little after 11 on most South Park, General Beetle, and then a little later at Horseman, Knollwood, Rapid Valley, and Canyon Lake. Again, just check with 211 for exact times and things like that. But every Monday and Wednesday, they're doing either a drive-through or table kind of setups where you can grab a cold breakfast and lunches to go kind of thing. So you can actually get food for your kids, and sometimes there's additional meals available as well beyond those. Same thing with YMCA, every Monday through Friday from 11:30 to 1. And their west parking lot here in Rapid City, they're offering bagged lunches to go. And that's not just for kids, but it's for adults and for seniors as well there at the YMCA. And these are some amazing lunches. They're better than I eat for lunch every day. So it's not like we're dealing some little Capri Sun kind of thing. We're talking a high quality lunch bag as well. So there is no real requirements for that. You don't have to be a YMCA member for that as well. And that's for all ages. We've partnered to help with seniors. They've got some additional help that's helping with adults, and then the kids 18 and under as well for those. But again, there are resources available to you out there for the food. If anyone, I know is a question to come up about being able to donate as well to the various organizations. I know 2-in-1 has some resources on that as well. And if you go to our website, mealsprogram.com, click the donate button on top, you can tell us exactly how you would like to make sure that you are helping your community that way. If you live in Bison and say, I want to make sure that I'm feeding my people in Bison, or if I live in Edgemont or whatever, just tell us as you make a donation, and we'll make sure 100% of your dollars stay in your community. 100% of the dollars will stay in your community if you tell us that you want to give to Bison. If you just say help seniors, we'll help seniors wherever they are, but I'm sure everybody else has got similar ways to donate as well.
All right, Jamie, you wanted to jump in there.
Well, just to point out, we also, we did start a COVID response fund, United We Stand, and you can find it on our website at www.unitedwayblackhills.org. It is specifically geared towards the pandemic response, and those nonprofits like these around the table who are experiencing significant increase in demand for need and services. These funds, 100% of what we raise stays in the Black Hills, and 100% is going to be going to these nonprofits. The applications are also on our website, so any nonprofit can apply for these funds, and we'll be giving out those dollars on a weekly basis to get it out there because we know how time sensitive these issues are.
Awesome. Richard, I wanted to pose this question to you. Let's say I'm someone who's living off of mac and cheese. I have a lot of spare time, but I don't have a lot of resources to give, but I have free time. I want to help in some way. Is that really an option at this point? Would you, at this point, we're just looking for the cash donations, and, we appreciate folks that are, who want to help or, use their hands, but, maybe at this time, it's just not something that we can do. Or is there options?
Yes, great question. Thank you. So just would remind you that if you're not feeling well, please don't volunteer at any place, because we want to try and keep everybody that's going on. So again, one of the best ways is just to go to the 2-on-1 Help Center and talk to them about what kind of volunteer opportunities, because all the organizations are reporting in and asking for help. So we know that Feeding South Dakota has been just bombarded with the amount of work that's going on. So they've really been looking for volunteers, whether it's those daily distributions here in Rapid City or across the state where they're got going on. So if you're looking for something to do like that, you just kind of need some time and want to get out and do it in a safe way, reaching out to any one of the organizations on here to find a way would be a great way to do that. And again, I'd probably start with Feeding South Dakota at this point, as they have the most going on right now.
Awesome. Okay. And then just to add to that, and I'll toss it to Kelsey in this case. If I want to donate cash wise, is there a website? Where do I go?
So for the Salvation Army, you would visit salarmyrapidcity.org if you wanted to donate directly to the Salvation Army. But really at this point, I don't know of a single organization who is not accepting donations at this time. And the United Way also is a great way to funnel those donations. They're really doing a lot of the heavy lifting as far as fundraising right now, while the rest of us are very busy serving. That's also a great way to support the Black Hills in general, is to make your donation through the United Way. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say all of us probably have a website with a donate button at the top of it right now.
Okay, good. Yeah, no, exactly. So, and if you're looking to see all that information, we have that on our website, nc1.tv. It's under COVID resources, or COVID-19 under resources. And also you can contact 211. Audrey, you had some comments as well.
Yeah, I just wanted to kind of piggyback off of what Richard was saying. Feeding South Dakota and Meals on Wheels are kind of those in-person ways to donate your time. But, I think there's also so many ways that people can give of their time virtually. We at Helpline Center 211, we also coordinate volunteers to send to organizations in the Black Hills. And what we do is on our website, people can fill out just a COVID-19 volunteer form and just kind of tell us what they want to do. And then we're able just to connect them over email or phone to places like Feeding South Dakota and Meals on Wheels. There's a virtual kind of interesting and easy way to contribute is with Bell Silver Lining in Belle Fourche as a senior center, and they have been able to adapt to their services. And one of their volunteer opportunities they have now is for you to call a senior to check in on them and just making sure their needs are met. That's a friendly voice for someone that may be homebound. And then also just making sure their needs are met. And if they aren't, if they need milk or things like that, they're able to connect them to Meals on Wheels. They're able to connect them to a food delivery service in the Northern Hills area. So those are some nice ways while people are at home to contribute. But we also have a weekly email that goes out every Tuesday that people can sign up for on our website. And we've geared all of our volunteer opportunities to be COVID-19 related. So we're giving people options, and ideas just like mail a letter or, call a senior center that you've, never been to. And maybe there's someone that wants to talk on the phone and give a friendly voice. Opportunities like making masks, which I know Richard had mentioned. And we do have those tutorials on our website that have been provided in our area by Monument Health, just kind of their specifications, what it is that they're looking for, kind of the differences between civilian masks and masks for that are medical grade as well. So there's a lot of ways I think that people can give back at their own home without feeling restricted.
Yeah, so all those resources are basically on your guys' website, how to maintain social distancing and also providing help for those in need of the community. It looks like a lot of these questions are starting to wrap up, so I'll leave it to each of you to kind of give a brief recap, what we're needing for this week, and then kind of how we're going to branch going into next week. And I believe I saw a question from George. I'll let you jump in there.
I've had several people ask about how small businesses can help in this time. I know that Meals on Wheels and Feeding South Dakota specifically, and I'm sure many of the rest of us have wonderful opportunities that we've been given when an individual has some employees that really can't do their normal job right now. We have several of those businesses that are having their staff, whether it be the YMCA, YFS, Conrad's Electric Signs, a bunch of other businesses that have said, you know what, we're making sure that our staff are taken care of, but we really want to make sure, since they can't do what they're normally doing, where can they help? Well, they can help by packing food boxes, reaching out to Feeding South Dakota through 211 or Feeding South Dakota directly, groups of 10 at a time. They can go and pack the thousands upon thousands of food boxes here in West River that are going out. If they can commit to once or twice a week during the lunch hour, Meals on Wheels, we'd love to have you come, a couple of your staff, we can commit to that can do it for more than just one time, but do multiple weeks. We'd love to have your people trained so we can get you safely out there delivering Meals on Wheels. And I'm sure there's lots of other ways that your staff can safely and a way that's structured give back to the community right now on a consistent basis as well. There's lots of those opportunities.
Awesome. Okay, so I'm going to let Jamie, we're going to go ahead and see if we can wrap things up here, but just the last thing from each of you. And Jamie, you had one comment about this week. If you had one thing on your plate, something that we might forget about, which might be needed.
Well, one thing I wanted to point out, don't forget giving blood is another way that you can help out that's desperately needed. But I think from United Way's perspective, one of the things that we want to make sure that our public knows is that our community recognizes that there are urgent needs right now that people in our community are experiencing, but there is just an amazing network of nonprofits, many nonprofits, more than you see here, who are all just working so hard, staying connected, matching up resources, saying, hey, I have somebody who needs this, I can't do it, can somebody else? And somebody else is raising their hand and saying, absolutely. And everybody's just working so well together to meet those needs. We are truly living in an amazing community, and I just hope that our general public knows that and recognizes it.
Those are some good thoughts. Audrey, we'll leave it with you as well.
Yeah, just as a reminder, 211 Helpline serves as that centralized location for information like what was shared here today, for basic needs, emergency help, and also listening and support if you're feeling anxious and just need to talk to someone, our call specialists are there just to give that to our community of the Black Hills. So just a reminder that we have information for food and basic needs, closures and cancellations, and of course ways to connect you to volunteer during this time.
All right, Kelsey, and you as well.
Yeah, just to remind everyone, as we're all figuring out how to do this, how to get used to our new normal, and we will continue to be here to meet basic needs in the Black Hills and West River as we work with our partners to really figure out how to best do that and make sure that no one falls into the gap as people are losing their jobs and such. Just rest assured that we're all working together right now to make sure that these needs are being met.
Awesome. And Richard?
Yeah, I'd just like to continue the message that I think we've all shared. We represent a large number of folks that are working hard every day to go out and make sure people that are in need are getting taken care of. And we're trying not to miss anyone. It's a lot of work when you think about the homeless population, mental health concerns, food, all of that work that goes on. And we still have the typical concerns about, for us, disasters coming, a large snowstorm coming this weekend. So just remind people to be prepared. And we have house fires, our police and fire out responding, doing their same work that they do every day. It just shows what a great place we live in, what a great place South Dakota is, what a great community it is to be in the Black Hills community. And so we just appreciate the support that everybody's shown for all of the nonprofits, whether it's the Red Cross or Helpline Center or United Way. It really does make a difference, and we so much appreciate that.
Awesome. And George, we'll leave things off with you on that.
And again, same kind of ideas. It's a time where people are not really sure about what's going on. We're not sure what's going to be happening the next day. If you or someone you love is going through something where you're not sure exactly what tomorrow is going to bring, if you're not sure if you're going to have what it takes to make the next day, whether it be food, whether it be medicine, whatever it is, reach out to 211, reach out to one of these various organizations out here. We've spent years getting ready to make sure we all are communicating. We're all in a situation where we all have spent many, many times together. If we don't know the answer, we'll try and get the answer to you. Keep asking, though. If you just get a single answer saying you can't find help through this, keep asking. Don't stop with that quick answer, no. There are so many resources out there for you, everyone around you. Again, it may not be today, right now, but we can find resources to help you through whatever it happens to be. So just keep asking, keep reaching 211, keep talking to your friends and neighbors through the telephone or whatever it happens to be. And there's help out there for you, and we can get that help to you.
And just as a reminder to folks, this is not the end of a discussion. This is the beginning of a discussion. We're going to hold this panel next week as well, and we're going to continue to be here as questions in the community come up. We have resources on our website, nc1.tv. We got a whole COVID-19 resource panel with all of these numbers and all this information. You can also call 211 if you have specific questions, how to reach out to these different organizations. Make sure to leave your comments still, even if you're not here for the actual live segment. We're going to keep this on our website. Make sure you're asking your questions in the comments section. We'll do our best to get in touch with all of you on that. So I want to say thank you to everyone who took their time out of their morning to join us. And we look forward to having more of these discussions. They are important. Information is power. And we're going to be sure to be safe this weekend with the snow. So we're going to be keeping that on tabs as well. Make sure to stay connected to your community and make sure to join us for next week's discussion. Thanks to you guys.